We have configured the SunLife large pricing model tool into our Optalytics code system. So just a brief background on Optalytics code, it serves as an underwriting workbench. So if I log into the Optalytics code using login with Microsoft, this is the Optalytics code application. We have a dashboard which displays the current metrics. We can see that it shows metrics for different kind of departments. It shows metrics for different months, years, and how many underwriters have written and what kind of business they've written. If I click on the pricing models page over here on the left, I can see that the healthcare large pricing tool has been configured. Clicking the healthcare large pricing tool, I can figure out that there are some selected inputs and outputs that I would like to display. These have been specifically done for the demo purpose. These can be changed and configured as and how required. So at the moment, I've selected few inputs, I've selected few outputs, which will automatically generate the calculations on the Optalytics code screen. So if I go into the all codes page, here one can find a list of all the codes for that particular pricing model, be it, for in this case, it is the large pricing tool. To add a new code to the system, be it a new code or a policy renewal, we click on add code. We select the pricing model, which in this case would be the healthcare large pricing tool. We select the policy type. Now here's where we select whether it's a new business or a policy renewal. So in terms of a policy renewal, they can feed in an external ID which can fetch the data for the previous quote which was written. In terms of a new quote, we click on new quote. The assured name is what I believe configured as case name in the pricing model. So if I click select test over here, broking company is, I think, broker. So I would select Jensen Group. Currency would be in dollars. And code description is a basic description of the business that we're writing. So I'll just write test code for now. Here we have two options, queue for underwriting or start underwriting. So in case of a queue for underwriting, it allows an underwriter to just prepare the basic page and then save the code journey where they can come back later and they can start the underwriting process. All these codes which are saved get stored in the placement queue, which the underwriters can later on come back and start writing. If I click on start underwriting, it's going to start the underwriting process right away. So here I've selected some basic fields like inception date, underwriter, territory, citus, business type, target case, and authority limit. These can be configured based on the business needs. Inception date, I can just select as today's date. Underwriter, I can just type in my name. Territory can be Greater New York. Citus can be New York. Authority limit and a target case of 2 to 5K non-target. Now there are certain status options that can be used here. One is NTU. So if at this point an underwriter feels that this quote is not to be taken up, they can click on the NTU button that puts the quote in a not taken up stage. They can decline the quote. They can save the quote and then move on to another quote and come back and write this later. Calculate and calculate using Excel are two calculate features. So calculate does server-side calculations. So if there are values or premiums that can be calculated right of these values, then an underwriter can use the calculate button to generate that value. For this use case, we'll be doing calculate using Excel. In calculate using Excel, it opens up a local copy of the pricing tool. So if I click calculate using Excel, so here you can see that it has opened up a local copy of the 500 plus core pricing tool. So if I just zoom out a bit, and here on the case summary page, you can see that the case name or the assured name has pulled through, which is test. The citus has pulled through, the effective date has pulled through, and the underwriter has pulled through from the first page. For demo purposes, I'll just use some basic values. So if I go back to the case summary page, you can see that the quoted annual premium at the bottom is $60,000. So I selected this as the output table, as this provides some useful metrics on the current annual premium, the underwriter formula annual premium, and the quoted annual premium. This quoted annual premium has also been tagged as the final premium. If I now save this Excel and go back to my Optalytics code application, I can see that it now enables a submit button. So unless I click on the save, it doesn't enable the submit button. So once all the work has been done there, I can save it and then I can click on submit, and it also gives a date time stamp of the last synced outputs. So I can click submit. Then the code summary page loads up with the $60,000 annual premium, with the input values and the output total as and how it can be configured. Over here, I can quote this particular quote. I can not take it up, I can decline, or I can cancel. If I have to make amends to the values, then I can either use two ways. There's an edit option, which I can change, suppose the site is to MI, and calculate. And if the values are based off that particular input, it will recalculate the quoted annual value. If I click on edit in Excel, it is again going to open a copy of the Excel, and I can change the value here to 4,500. I can click save. Now if you see, the case summary output has changed to 60,000. If I change the rated volume to 60 million, it shows a premium of 144,000 dollars. So if I now save the Excel again, and if I go out of the screen, I can click on submit, and the premium value gets updated to $144,000. So for this use case, I can see that there are the sales team that will be coming in and trying to play around with the values. So they can click on the latest button at the top. On clicking the latest button, they can see which version generated which premium. So if I now go back to version 2, I can see that the premium is still 60,000, and then I can see that if I click on the latest version, the premium changed to $144,000. If I have to see my current values that I had used for this particular code, I can click on the model state file here, and it's going to download the Excel with all the current values. I can check the timelines. So if I click on timelines and if I do a table view, it can show me how the premiums was recalculated, when and by whom. Documents. So we also have document producing facilities with the current values. So if some values need to be pulled into a particular code sheet or a pricing sheet, we can also dynamically configure it so that every time a user goes and clicks on the document button, which is over here, they can download a document with all the relevant values that they need. If you have to keep notes on the progress or the process of a timeline, you can also put notes for different versionings, and that would help an underwriter or a salesperson to understand what has been going on with this code. So if I now click on the code button, it moves into a quoted stage. I can bind it, I can not take it up, I can decline, or I can cancel. Also, I can request adjustments and make any other further changes I want to this particular quote and recode it back again. If I go back onto the all codes page, it shows the quote with $144,000. That is everything from a demo perspective.